Welcome back, guys. Today I thought I'd do a video and talk a little bit about Linux gaming. Now, gaming is something that I think most computer users at one time or another will be interested in gaming. And of course, the interest will be to varying extents depending upon what types of games you like to play. Now, gaming can be a challenge within Linux because your ability to game within Linux is really determined by your CPU, the strength of your computer system, your graphics card, and your uh, willingness to get involved in the tedious task of trying to get some of the games to work within Linux. Now, there are native Linux games that will run pretty well on most Linux systems. What you have to pay close attention to is what the minimum requirements are for these individual games. The requirements vary a great deal. You've got games like in the menu here. If I go to games, you've got I've got Extreme Tux Racer, Super Tux 2, Super Tux Kart, and Steam. And so the system requirements vary a great deal depending upon which game you're trying to play. Now, if I open up my Steam catalog on this computer, and I will show you the specs on my computer. This is my secondary computer. It's got an Intel i3 4360 at 3.7 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. I'm running Manjaro. This is the XFCE version, but I've installed LXDE on top of it. It runs a little bit leaner, especially for gaming. That's important. And I've got a GeForce GT 740. It's an NVIDIA graphics card, which works quite well. Now, this is not a high-powered graphics card. This is one of the older NVIDIA cards, and it seems to handle most of the gaming requirements quite well. Now, on this particular computer, I'm not loading, extremely graphic intensive games. For example, XCOM, Enemy Unknown. Well, I can run that on my other computer, which is an i7, much better than it'll run on this i3. But SteamWorld, Shovel Knight, Rocket League, Euro Truck Simulator run perfectly well, no problems whatsoever. Steam is a really good resource for Linux gaming because they provide most of the native Linux games and make them available. Most of them are pay for games. Some of them are free. There are some demos that you can download. But it's an excellent resource for Linux gaming. It's one of the few out there that have catered to Linux computer users. And I play a lot of games on Steam. But there are other games that are not as easy to get running. The computer system requirements are much greater. And I'm talking about games like Blizzard games. Now, Blizzard is extremely popular. I've got Battlenet loaded on this computer. One of the problems lately that I've come across with Blizzard is that when I do a new install on Linux distributions, I'm having an issue where it won't connect. It won't go online. So it'll allow you to download the game, but it won't allow you to play it unless you can connect online to your account at Blizzard. That's an issue lately for some reason. I've tried installing Battlenet on several different distributions lately, and I've had minimal success. So something is going on. Every time Blizzard changes the Battlenet app, the people using Linux sometimes have to change their Wine configuration or their Play on Linux configuration to get the Battlenet to run properly. And I've had that issue lately, and it can be frustrating. To compound the Blizzard issue, Overwatch, which was released, I guess, late last year, um, for PS4 and for PC, it's an extremely, extremely popular game. And right now, I think it's preventing a lot of people from coming over from Windows to Linux. Now, as far as I know, Overwatch doesn't even have a Mac version available. You can only run it on a Windows PC or a PlayStation 4. I'm not sure about Xbox. I'm without checking into it, I'm sure that they wouldn't overlook Xbox users. But um, I've tried to get Overwatch running on Linux. It's beyond me. I mean, I can't get it running, and I don't know anybody who has. I can get Heroes of the Storm going, Hearthstone, StarCraft, Diablo 3, and World of Warcraft. So at one time or another, I've gotten all of those running. If I go to my Wine menu, you can see that I've got Battlenet, Diablo, Hearthstone, Overwatch. I tried installing Overwatch and I played with it for a long time and it just will not run. Hearthstone, no problem. Diablo 3, no problem. Now Diablo 3 takes a little bit longer to load on this i3 than it did on the i7, but it still plays, and it plays without any glitches. It runs fine. Again, I do have an NVIDIA graphics card, and that would become a challenge. It would really tax your graphics capabilities within your machine, so you want to make sure you check the minimum requirements. And what they always say is, these are the minimum requirements, and then these are the recommended requirements. And of course, the recommended requirements are a notch above the minimum. Can you get the game going at the minimum requirement configuration? Yes, but it may not be the best gaming experience for you. Now, as I said before, gaming in Linux, it's one of the big reasons that more people don't come over to Linux. People will only leave Mac or Windows when all of their needs are satisfied on Linux. Some people do run two systems. They have their gaming on Windows and their regular office type, regular day-to-day computer tasks being handled nicely on Linux. But in reality, they probably would like to have everything on one system. And right now, that's just not possible with Linux, unless you're willing to sacrifice some of the games that you normally play. Otherwise, your only choice is to keep those games running on your Windows box and use that when needed. Now, there are a lot of resources available to gamers for Linux, and I'm going to post some of these websites. I have Blizzard running just within Wine and Wine Tricks. I'm not using Play on Linux. I don't even have it installed on this computer, although it is useful at times. And I will say that when I can't get Blizzard running on Wine and Wine Tricks, which makes it easier, and I've done a video on that which shows the process. My latest video that shows the process of installing Battlenet within Linux and I referenced Manjaro and Ubuntu 16.10 versions. That process, for the most part, still works. When I drop down to Linux Mint and any Ubuntu 16.04 versions, the wine tricks in many cases will not work, and I end up going over to Play on Linux to get it running. And I will tell you that, well, let me go through these websites first, and then I'll tell you the distributions that I recommend if you want to get into some serious gaming, Linux gaming. Okay, so you've got Wine HQ. Now within Wine HQ, if you're trying to get a game going in Wine, just put the name in the search box. I searched for Battlenet, and as you can see, it brings up the Battlenet app, and then you can read through and find all of the issues and how they were dealt with. And you can find answers to your questions. For example, here's one from December, Debian Stretch. Installs, yes, and the rating, how well the system is running. And there are some fixes down here too for the how-to notes. You can see what the latest fixes are for some of the games that you're trying to run. So it's a great resource, Wine HQ. Then you've got Play on Linux. If you go to the Play on Linux website, lots of resources available. Now, Play on Linux has actually an Ubuntu community wiki where there's lots of information there if you're trying to get your Play on Linux games going. Not every Play on Linux game will run on every system. So they have links to refer to the Wine database. So there's lots of resources here that will help you find what you're looking for as far as Linux gaming. Reddit has a section on Linux gaming, always a good resource, lots of information and lots of users looking for information and also providing information. This is a link to gamingonlinux.com. Some of the information here is older, but nevertheless there's a lot of useful information that can help you sometimes get your issue resolved and get a game going within Linux. PC World has a list of 35 great games for Linux and Steam machines. You can see what the top games that are available. And then PC World also has Gaming on Linux, a how-to, a guide for sane people with limited patience. Now this goes back to 2013, but lots of information here that is still relevant today as far as general gaming guidelines within Wine, Play on Linux, and Linux in general. So you would get a lot of information from this, and it may help you get over a rough spot. Now you can always drop a question for me, and if I'm able to help you, I will. I've helped a lot of people get Blizzard games going on their systems because I know how important it is to be able to game within Linux. It's critical for people who are thinking about making the switch. And I believe it's the #1 reason that people do not make the switch. So I think that Linux distribution developers need to do more of the legwork, do more of the research, and provide distributions that actually are configured so that people can do a fair amount of gaming. Now, there are distributions that are geared towards gaming, gaming editions, Sparky Linux. There's quite a few that have gaming editions. I've tried them, and they have been no more successful for me in getting Battlenet games going, for example, than any standard Linux distribution. So I'll tell you the distributions that have worked best for gaming within Linux from my experience. Number one is any Manjaro spin. I've had the least amount of gaming issues with Manjaro distributions than I have with any other flavor. The next slot down would be Arch distributions. So there are Arch distributions that are available that are not Manjaro distributions. Those work pretty well. Manjaro still has the edge. Now, I don't know if it's something within the Manjaro configuration or something in the Manjaro repos, but I have much less headaches and roadblocks and obstacles when I'm working with a Manjaro distribution. So that you have Manjaro, you have Arch. Then number 3 would be the Ubuntu 16.10 distributions, whether it be Ubuntu, Xubuntu, Lubuntu, Kubuntu, anything Ubuntu 16.10 is fantastic. Now I'm assuming that once 17.04 comes out, that it'll be equally impressive. Although I did load the new Lubuntu Alpha 17.04 Zesty, and I had some issues with Battlenet. So I'm going to hold off judgment on that until the actual 17.04 release comes out in April. And at that time, I'll do a complete analysis of Ubuntu 17.04 as it relates to Linux gaming. Now, beyond that, you can expect to have some issues. Debian stable is the biggest challenge. I don't have a lot of success getting Blizzard, and Blizzard seems to be the most difficult to get going. Don't have a lot of success in Debian stable, although I have been successful in MX16, and I've also been successful in Sparky Linux, which is based off Debian testing. Now, Debian testing, which is Stretch version 9, which will become the new stable in a very short period of time. Right now, when I run Debian testing Stretch version 9, top notch. Usually I'm able to get mostly everything I need going, and including Battlenet. So if you're a gamer, if you're a casual gamer, mostly any Linux distribution will do. If you're a more serious gamer, then of course you need a system that can handle it. And then I would lean more for gaming towards the Manjaro, Arch, and Ubuntu 16.10 distributions if you want to get into some serious gaming. Now, I'm going to mention a couple of distributions that I have had success with, and that is I've had some success with Linux Mint. I've had some success with Peppermint Linux. And so those there, with a little extra tweaking, you can pretty much get anything going. But again, you need to do some research, follow my videos, and even then, sometimes you'll need a little bit more tweaking to get over the hump. So guys, you guys know how important that I think gaming is to creating an acceptable Linux experience for the average Windows user. And so if you have any questions or you need any help with any of your gaming situations, let me know. I'll try to help as much as I'm able to. Now, just one more announcement before I wrap up this video. I am thrilled because uh, today I've reached 5,000 subscribers. Now, that is unbelievable as far as I'm concerned. I never thought that I would. I mean, I wasn't sure I'd get to 1,000. Never mind 5,000. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel every day. I appreciate the viewing of all of the new videos. I have a lot of fun making them, and I enjoy helping people just learn or get over the hump, get a problem resolved, get a game going that you're having trouble with. I've gotten so many comments from people who will say, like, I've been struggling for weeks to get this printer going and your video helped me. Thank you very much. That really makes my day when I hear about situations like that. So guys, thank you very much. And again, thanks for stopping by the channel today. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Take care.